Alright, so what's up? Qwadsqwad back at it with another one. I just wanted to add this little tidbit before the start of the video because I made this video way back, like a while back. Um, this is actually one of the first videos I wanted to make for the channel, but it just was a lot of editing that went into doing it because it was a lot of bits and pieces. Because I was new, or whatever. Now I'm getting a little better. I mean, my editing skills isn't perfect, but it's better than it was. But anyway, so I just wanted to add this little tidbit to say that if you wanted, you can put the video on like speed of 1.75 or 1.5 down in the YouTube settings. It's one side or the other. And that way you can like go through the video and hear everything clearly and maybe slow it down at certain parts that you want to know more about. Um, just wanted to put that out there. If you didn't, or you could just go regular speed and listen to the whole 20-minute video, whatever works. I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, so you didn't miss anything. And you can learn whatever you want to learn from it. Anyways, I'll let my previous Nick take over from here, and I hope you enjoy it. Take something from it. Hey there, what's up? My name's Nick Patterson, and that's my boy Wakely over there, my service dog, and I'm making this video in regards with accessibility software and my experiences with them, frustrations, and how I've gone from what I had to what I have now, what works better, what doesn't, where the frustrations are, and yeah, with that, if you want, you can give a like and a follow if you want. Do what you want. Either way, videos are going to come, possibly reviews and stuff like that. Whatever you guys need or want, just put it in the comments or don't. Either way, yeah, so I'll just hop into it. Alright, so hopping right into it, reviewing the accessibility softwares that you can get or are straight up built into the Apple or Windows applications, and how I ended up going from Apple over to Windows, MacBook Pro / iMac over to Surface Book 2. Started with the Surface Book 1 with school and learned that it's far superior in many ways to Apple, as you can imagine, unless you don't know much about computers. But yeah, so with that, I'll go into each one by itself, go through the details, pros, cons, or something like that, and then from there, I'll give you my results and my decision on why I went with what. And yeah, so we'll go into that, and yeah, so alright, so starting with Apple. Yeah, I've always been with Apple since the iPhone, going into the everything else. First off, gotta clarify, I know Apple is kind of like if someone took a poo on the side of the road and somebody slapped an Apple sticker on it, someone would buy it, but I haven't been with them for that reason. I mean, the whole reason I've been with Apple is the simplicity of it. Like, it's your iPhone it's a phone. You have browsing. It's your iPod. It's your iCloud. It syncs everything, no problem. No plugging your iPod into your computer. And then you have to download your songs off of LimeWire or some kind of torrenting site, import it into iTunes, and then iTunes under your iPod. It's simple. No, none of that. Like, it just syncs from your computer to your phone, whatever, and your documents, all of that, and like that simplicity has made it so easy for me accessibility wise. Because it's not easy to plug in your phone when you can't plug in your phone, and then when you got a bad memory, and when your PSW's here and you forget to get them to plug it in, then you're shit out of luck. So yeah, so that simplicity is pretty awesome, and yeah, so like accessibility software wise, few of them is like, so I use a head mouse, which a head mouse is, it's a camera that sits on the top of your computer, and the reason why I have sunglasses without any lenses or not, it's not a style statement or anything like that. That would be no. It's actually, if you see that little dot in the middle of the frame, it is what the camera watches and follows. And when it follows that, it moves the mouse or the cursor on my computer. Which, when you got painful shoulder blades, you got painful arms, you're just tired from physio, whatever it is, like, it just makes it really simple. And with that software, I use DwellClick. DwellClick is the software that is built into Apple and Apple devices, like, yeah, sorry, stuttered for a second. And what DwellClick is every 3 to 5 seconds, whatever you set it to, it will click if you hold it in one spot. Sometimes if somebody's walking beside you or around the house and it's like shaking the floor, then it gets a little frustrating, but in general it makes a world of a difference. And that DwellClick software it's great. It's great. And then otherwise, I didn't really get too much into the Apple like software that is similar to Dragon. I tried it for a while. It was frustrating. I didn't want to really even screw with it anymore. I'm used to Dragon, so I use Dragon on Mac. Yes, I know that they no longer make Dragon for Mac or make the updates, but it still works. I actually got it from like my school like tech shop or whatever. I got it for like $25 for like the most up-to-date version that no longer is updating. But either way, it's great. Honestly, I kind of like Dragon more on Apple than I do on Windows. I find it less frustrating. I like the little icon that pops up. It's a little bigger. And yeah, so like in general, Apple does really good on the software and everything. With accessibility needs, especially with iPhone. And yeah, so they're really good with their software and stuff. Like, the only other thing that I use with Apple in regards with like is a Switch. Switch being my wheelchair joystick. So I've got Permobile wheelchair. It has the Bluetooth capability to connect to my computer and to my iPhone. On my iPhone, it's called Switch Control. It also has Switch Control for the computer. Personally, it's the most frustrating thing. I could never figure it out. For some people, it probably works. I don't know, like people with less mobility than me, that has other options to use. It might come in handy with them. Personally, it didn't help me a lot, so I just kept with the fact that I can connect it to my computer and move my mouse with it. So moving my mouse, like literally I move my joystick, my mouse moves. So it's just like my head mouse, but it's kind of more convenient when, say, you're going to college and you don't want to have a pair of frames without lenses in it in the middle of the hall or in the library or whatever. So it's more discreet. Yeah, you gotta use your arm, but you gotta use your arm anyways. You can't just let it get lazy. I'm just kidding, but yeah, so that really comes in handy. It also comes in handy with Switch Control. I do use Switch Control on my phone because sometimes I use it, but like I've got the mobility with my arm, so sometimes it just gets a little frustrating and I just say screw it and then just use my arm. And then I get into the habit of just using my arm, but sometimes it gets in handy. And I can go further in that into another review with Switch Control with your phone in a different video, but I'm just comparing it in little notes. And yeah, so that's mainly what I use with Mac. Now, the downsides with Mac, number one, it doesn't have facial recognition yet. I have no idea why they wouldn't. They have it in phones that are less expensive. But Mac is Mac. I mean, Apple is Apple. Like, I'm not going to go into that part. But long story short, so the login features get a little frustrating because when you go to log into your computer, if you have to put in a password, they don't give you the option, or at least I could never find out the option so that you could get, number one, dwell click to use while you're not logged in. Like once you're logged in, you can use dwell click, but you can't on the login screen. The other thing, you don't get an on-screen keyboard. So if you can't use your upper limbs and you can't type in your password, you can't log in. So if you don't have your PSW there at the moment and you don't have your arms, you can't really log in. It gets frustrating. So I mean, yeah, that's a one part with the login that frustrates me because you have no ability to use your accessibility tools with it, and then no facial recognition. They can improve. Anyways, next thing is the whole touchscreen thing. They don't have a touchscreen computer yet. I get it, like iPad Pro, like what's the purpose of getting that if you could get it on a MacBook Pro with touchscreen? Apple is Apple. Not going to go into that. So yeah, so those are some of the downsides. And if any other ones come up to mind, I might throw a little insert of it or notes on the screen. But that's what comes to mind right now. So yeah, that's Apple. Not talking bad. I'm just giving you the facts. And like I still love Apple. I will never lose. I will never leave Apple as an iPhone. Like I don't want Android. I've done it. I've used many Androids, Notes, S7s, S8s, like done it. But iPhone, I'm always with iPhone. Anyways, so that's the end of Apple. On to the next one. So in regards with Windows and my Surface Book 2 and why the change, originally with my ADB funding, I got a MacBook Pro. Main purpose was because I had a small passion for music, and I know that it's good for music, making it, creating it, whatever. Total side note, not going into it, and I had the Surface Book 2 that I got through my school as I was going to George Brown, so they just supplied me with that. I was like, alright, then I would have both, best of both worlds. Anyways, so over the time having this Surface Book 1 through the school, started realizing that like the accessibility features and just the all around technology was a lot better. So I'll get into it. Number one, facial recognition. Like being able to unlock your laptop with your face, hands down, is the most accessible like login that you could possibly get. As I mentioned, the things on the MacBook Pro login, it's frustrating, especially if you don't have upper trunk ability. But anyways, so number two is touchscreen. Like it's touchscreen. You can't go wrong with that. So number three being that you can eject the Surface Book to become a tablet. And like the small beauty of that is that you would think you would lose a lot of the power, but you don't. Like because your i7 and your RAM, which I had an i7 and 16 gigs of RAM, is all located in the screen / tablet. Yes, your graphics card is located in the keyboard if you have this serious high power graphics card, which is what I went with. So like some design software and some video games, you wouldn't be able to really play it in a tablet mode, but that's like 1% of what you couldn't use it for, but 99% of what you do, especially if you don't do that stuff, you could totally use it all. I mean, the battery's going to die a little sooner, but either way, it's awesome, and I fucking love it. God damn it, I probably shouldn't have sworn, but I did, so let's go on. Alright, so getting to it. Accessibility features and what I use, how I use, and how accessible it is. So, number one, my head mouse. Head mouse plus frame plus dot, it follows, equals accessibility genius. Makes a world of a difference in my life. I mentioned it before. Won't go too much into it. And with that, so dwell click is not included on the accessibility features on Windows, but it doesn't mean it's not accessible. You just have to go and download it off the internet. And honestly, the one you download off the internet works better than the one from Apple. Like way better, at least in my personal experience. Like it's got left click, right click, double click, click and hold, and it's got a button to pull up the on-screen keyboard, which Apple doesn't have that. And number two, the click and hold works way better than the one on Mac. Like on Mac, I could honestly never get it to work. Like it has the button, click and hold, but it never works for me. I don't know if that's software or if that's old versions, whatever it is, never worked for me. So that would frustrate me because then you can't click and hold. Like I would have to use my joystick to hold. Anyways, long story short, it's a great software. Another reason why I wouldn't go back to Mac. And then right click, left click, that's pretty basic. So dual click's awesome. And the beauty about head mouse and dual click on Windows is that you can use those things on login. So yeah, beauty that facial recognition, like it makes a world of a difference. Yeah, it doesn't get it every time, but every time that it doesn't get it, it gives you the option to rescan your face so that it can improve for the next time, which is awesome. And yeah, so if that doesn't work or it's done too many attempts because you left it on all night because you fell asleep, then you have the option to go and open the on-screen keyboard, which is awesome. And the other part is that your dwell click software that you downloaded online on startup starts up. Even before you log in, it starts up. So on the login page, you have your dwell click software. So you don't have to go and click yourself. Like it's just like if you're logged in, which mind blown. I was like, that's amazing. Anyways, so with having that dual click, you can use the on-screen keyboard, which pops up once you go into the little dot and then you open on-screen or screen reading, or I haven't used that feature because I don't need it, but anyways, makes login simplicity. Yeah. Alright, so next thing is my joystick switch. So my joystick, as mentioned before, Bluetooth controller, Permobile, it's really awesome. I can Bluetooth my joystick to my computer and control the mouse with my joystick, which is awesome. It's more for an environment when I'm going to school and I just connect it and I no longer need this camera on top of my computer and the glasses with the dot with no lenses, and you're like, why? People are looking at you funny because you think that they think that's for design or whatever, and I always have to make that clear. No, it's for an accessibility tool. Anyways, yeah, so it's a really great software. And yeah, so I don't tend to use dwell click with it, but it can come in handy sometimes. And yeah, on to the next one. So the next really awesome thing, like I mentioned before, the ejection into a tablet. It's really great because in my experience I would always have like a little tablet for all my torrent downloading and streaming to my TV and such, but now having the computer, which is all in one, you no longer need that little tablet. So that's beautiful. And yeah, the touchscreen is just like crazy awesome. So yeah, sorry, I'm a little tired. So last but not least is Dragon. We all know about Dragon. It's the one that's always recommended, especially for Windows, especially since they no longer make it for Mac. They make it for Windows and the updates and all that jazz. Honestly, I don't use Dragon a lot. I do use it on the daily or every other day, mainly for autofill. So the auto text command, so you can make your own commands with like Nick Hotmail, and then it posts my Hotmail, my generic password, my main password, whatever it puts it in, my address, my all that. You guys would know what autofill is. So in regards with that, it's awesome. I do use it sometimes for the dictation. It depends on what application or what browser, what website I'm using it for. Because with Google Chrome, it tends to encounter a lot of errors even when you download the little attachment for the Google Chrome. But long story short, it's really great. There's not much more I can say about that you can read on the website. And yeah, so then last but not least, some other little notes being... Alright, so I just want to add two last little tidbits. I gotta apologize about the kids in the background. I live in a co-op neighborhood. I love my neighborhood, but I don't understand why kids gotta scream and yell so much, but you might hear it in the background, so I just wanted to add that. Anyways, man, two little tidbits I wanted to add in. So there's this program called Remote Mouse that you can get an app on your phone and an app on your computer, and it makes it so that you can remotely like control the mouse on your computer. It comes in handy. It's pretty awesome, and it works for both Mac and on Windows. And if you don't have a Bluetooth joystick like mine, it might work for you. And yeah, or if you're in bed and you don't have access to your Bluetooth joystick. So it's pretty cool. Definitely check it out. I'll leave the information down in the description. And last but not least, so now as they don't make Dragon for Mac anymore, and I had funding through ADP for Dragon, I had to figure a workaround, and the way I figured it out is that I got a program called Parallels. Parallels is a virtual machine that makes it so you can download Windows 10 or 11 and make it an app on your computer, so that way you don't have to partition, you don't have to turn your computer off and on to switch from Windows to Mac. Like, you just always keep it as Mac, and then you just open this application and it opens a Windows desktop on your computer. And with that, then you download Dragon Naturally Speaking on that program, and there you go. Bing, bang, boom. You got the most up-to-date Dragon on the most up-to-date Windows on the most up-to-date Apple computer. But the one thing with that workaround is that you need to make sure that you get a good amount of gigs on your computer, like internal storage, because I only got 128 gigs, and the thing is that virtual machine takes up about 60 gigs on your computer. So it took up like half my gigs, and I ended up having to take it off because I couldn't operate my computer because of it. So basically, yes, you can get an external hard drive, but you can't operate certain apps off your external hard drive very well. You can sometimes, but it just doesn't work very well. So just get more gigs in your hard drive. Like, I'd say at least 500 if you're going to do that workaround. It's really cool. It works well. But yeah, that's what I got on that. Just my experience to help you make an informed decision. I'm a techie guy. I've always liked tech. I've always been into tech, and I've always been good at tech. So I had to learn how to do all my tech accessibility wise, and that's how I figured out all of these accessibility things and figure out what works best for me. So I just want to share that my intellect and experience with that, and yeah. So with that, I'll finish off with that. I hope you all have a good 24. I hope you enjoyed it, took something from it, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.